Hello, everybody. I just want to make sure we're live here, but welcome to our Facebook live stream session. We're very happy to have MPP Marketing with us today, and they're a part of our Cisco Advantage program. And today we're going to chat with them. So I'm going to introduce everyone and bring everyone in here. I'm just going to push the right button. There you go. So say hi to everyone.
Hey.
So, so we have Mark, Dan, and Sean on the line from MPP Marketing, and today we're going to go through, and I'm just going to pull up the slides here. We're going to talk a little bit about marketing right now in this new norm, and really what you should be doing. We're going to create some urgency. We talked about this earlier, of what you should be doing, and what you could be doing and should be doing, and possibly implementing to get customers coming to your restaurant, or as you open up. There's so many different things to talk about today, and I really want to talk about with the experts. And I truly believe you guys are the experts. So, anyways, Mark, do you kind of want to just open it up and have a little chat here before we get going, and we'll go through the slides in a little bit?
Absolutely, Jay. Thanks very much for setting this up, Jay. And hello, everybody. I hope everybody's staying safe and and enjoying this process. Which is kind of surreal, but I know I'm enjoying it by having situations like this where we can share to the masses, what we feel about an industry that we've been involved for the past 25 years. And we kind of wrote the book. We were transitioned from analog to digital, and it's a fascinating transition and journey. And here we are during this COVID-19. Which kind of throws everybody a wrench, and you kind of have to look around and say, okay, now we're an industry by industry survival. The hotel and travel industry are decimated. Some of them are starting to come back. What industry is going to go? Obviously the video Zoom industry has grown crazy. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that we are doing at MPP Marketing Group is basically, with 700 customers across North America, we really have our pulse on the industry, and we kind of get the feedback. Some of our customers are up 30%, and they're rocking, and some of our customers are down 90%. So you see all of them, and you kind of sit back and say, okay, what's the new norm? What is the new norm? And, I see, I watch international food shows all the time because I'm very passionate about food. And, you get all these, Michelin star chefs starting to make burgers and takeout. Mm-hmm. And, when they're being asked, how do you turn a $60 plate into a $12.95 plate? They go, you have to survive.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that one of the industry, and I want to get right to the point, because there's no point messing around. The holy grail of restaurants is to, number one, get new customers, and that's an expensive exercise, but that's one of the holy grails, to keep getting new customers and test your product. The second thing is they want the customers that they already have to come back more often.
Now, so, Mark, can I jump in on that?
Sure.
I love that. And I guess the thing is what we found and what I guess there's two things to this I want to talk about, and maybe we can all have a chat about this, is so to get a repeat customer prior to COVID-19. So this is before this situation we're in. It was a real challenge for a lot of independents right then, because a lot of millennials and Gen Z that we were targeting as our customer base, right? Obviously the Gen Z we're trying to convince to start using us as a regular location they'd like to go. What we found is a lot of restaurants were not getting the repeat customer because they weren't necessarily creating that experience for those millennials to come back more often, right? And that's where that experience was not necessarily catering to that group. And what we found is a lot of millennials really wanted to, and it's weird, I don't really want to say the word hate, but it's really interesting that a lot of millennials were focused on social media. So if I went to a restaurant all the time, repeat, and took the same picture of the food I was having, it didn't show my diversity of myself. It didn't show that I was a traveler or I use different meals. I was kind of getting boring, so my social media wouldn't have the same impact if I went to a different restaurant every night or every time I went out. So we have a different world today. How do you not convince, but how do you draw in those independent operators for millennials? Because millennials and Gen Z is still 62% of the population we're going to target. So you come into our restaurants, right? I'm going to say it's probably even a little higher right now, right? To come in on a regular basis. I believe it is for a restaurateur is using companies like yourself to get innovative with that marketing message. I believe menus, I believe experiences today that we haven't even thought of using social media, using technology, is going to help get that repeat customer coming over and over again. We kind of laughed in the past, and I did some presentations about this, is, the days of Norm, the Cheers. And for a lot of people, probably don't even know what that show is, but Norm coming in over and over and over again, that doesn't exist. So, but you can make it happen.
Sean says
the right things.
I'm totally on the same page as you are. Exactly. And
so I do believe using companies like yourselves. That's why today we want everyone to see and to find out and contact you, get on the email, jump on this. There's my commercial pitch, is to use you guys, because that creative aspect, if you're thinking those millennials and Gen Z are going to order again and again, when I can go through a third-party app and 550 restaurants on my thumb of different experiences each time, you're going to have to be very creative and innovative to draw a customer again to buy once again from you, right? And
Jay,
we'll talk about that more.
Let me interrupt a little bit. What you're saying is accurate if you have no customer data. If you have no communication line to your customer, you're right. You're hoping they come back, and you're hoping to put a post up on Facebook and they see it and they might come back. Yeah. Well, that's not what we do at all. We don't.
That's good though.
Hope is not a marketing plan, and we capture data from customers when they come in. We get their cell phone, we get their email address. We want to retarget that customer. And what we've seen is, if we take a restaurant's top 1,000 customers, those 1,000 customers make up 70% of their sales. So the real gold is those 1,000 customers. And if you don't have their data, you'll never be able to retarget them again.
But Sean, you nailed it though. Most restaurants out there, I think that they haven't really built their strategy on marketing, are literally living on hope.
They just have a Facebook page and they think, oh, we're doing marketing. We have a Facebook page. How many likes have you had in the last year? 4.
Yeah. And how often you transition. So I want to talk about that more, Sean, and you nailed it, is what is the new experiences now that we can give customers that necessarily is going to be through delivery?
Well, what I'd like to suggest is introduce Sean. Yeah, what I'd like to do, Jay, is introduce Sean and Daniel.
Sure, yeah, please do. Sorry.
They can really talk about, I was just going to say that the third Holy Grail is get them to spend a higher ticket. So we have the 3 Holy Grail. But one of the things that we need to focus on is tell the message to restaurants that you have to engage with a takeout and delivery option. Whether you decide to have your brother, sister, father, uncle, or son deliver the food, or whether you use an Uber or any aggregator, go for it. You need to be out there to survive, because you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know how long it's going to be before your restaurant is filled up. And unless your restaurant is filled up 65-70% of the time, you'll never make money. Mm-hmm. So, take it from the big, Michelin chefs that have converted to burgers and pizzas, because they have to survive, and do the same thing. But what I want to have is Sean talk about the emotional connection. And then what I'd like to do is because Sean used to be a very successful franchisor, and he sold it for a lot of money, and now he loves marketing. So he came back and said, let me help these guys from a perspective of an operator, so I really understand them. And then what I'd like to do is introduce Daniel, who's our social media, our digital media director. He can talk to, what is the trends, what they're doing that's working. As I said, some of our customers are up 30%. He can tell you why. He can tell you what we're doing for them. So those are the kinds of things that I want to discuss, because these are things that I really believe restaurants need to survive.
Yeah.
So, Sean, why don't you talk about the emotional connection a little bit, and then Daniel, you can take it to the social and digital.
One thing I was thinking about, Jay, when you were talking was this is a time where you can redefine your entire operation, your entire restaurant, and you need to, because there is no old normal. That is gone forever. And one thing you said in the prelims, Jay, was, nobody knows what's coming next. And we can predict and we can look ahead, but if you're looking one day ahead, if you're looking at today's order and making payroll and not focusing on what are things going to look like in 4 weeks, what are things going to look like in 6 months, that's where you need to bring your mind as a restaurant owner and say, okay, what I'm going to plan for this to happen. I'm going to plan for things maybe not opening, maybe things getting shut down. What do I do then? And I think if restaurant owners kind of take a step back out of the woods, right, to see the forest and say, all right, here's what I want my restaurant to be. Here's what I want to represent. Here's the food I want to sell. Here's how I'm going to deliver that food. And here's the experience that I'm going to create so that I can create an emotional connection with my customers. And, I deal a lot with pizza, and pizza is extremely emotional food. I mean, it's the most loved food in the world. But with any restaurant, if you can't connect with your customer on an emotional level, you've just simply sold them food, they've ate it, and they're satisfied, right? You can go to 7-Eleven and get a Slurpee and be satisfied. So how do you take that customer experience to the next level where they are raving fans and raving, lunatics about your brand, and actually they're going and talking about your brand? So those are the things that we really want. We work with all of our guys on is, here's how you create an experience. Here's how you connect with the customers. Here's how you communicate to them. And here's how you increase frequency. Yeah. Because I think, what the number one thing we focus on is frequency. Chasing that new customer is like chasing a unicorn, right? They're out there, but they're expensive to find. They're not loyal. They don't come back all the time. So, we allocate some of our budget toward new customers, but we're really looking to increase the frequency of those top 1,000 customers, because when we look over the whole POS database, those 1,000 customers average 0.9 visits per month. So if we can increase that to 1.3, 1.4, that's only half a visit every 2 months, or half a visit a month. So, but that's 500 orders. So if you can get 500 more orders a month, you're looking at a significant increase in sales. And all it takes is having a line of communication with the people that already like you and love you, and giving them incentives to come back into your restaurant. And sometimes it's just top of mind, right? This is the most valuable space in entire marketing world, is top of mind. And because you're hit with 100,000 marketing messages a day, especially from the big chains, and there's nothing wrong. I like Romeo's Pizza. I just didn't think of it top of mind. So being relevant and staying top of mind with an emotional connection to your customers is the formula for success.
I love that. And I think that's so important. And it was something that I know that we were talking about prior to this COVID crisis, is that we were really trying to get that message into our customers, and definitely into the industry, around those emotional ties. And I want to share one with you that I think is brilliant. And it was actually one of our marketing managers in Winnipeg. He posted on his Instagram, and there's even a secondary component to this, because they got the meal, and I'll talk about their experience and what their emotional tie is, but they actually posted on social media. So now I'm talking about it because I saw it on Instagram of what he did. So that, it works when you do that, right?
Right.
But the one thing on it is he got his takeout. So he ordered takeout from a local restaurant in Winnipeg. And I don't recall the name, but I would tell you what it is to help promote them. But he got it, and then they put a nice message inside, stapled to the bag, that was handwritten, that we're thinking about you. And it was, obviously, I think it was like a card where they have multiple, but it looked handwritten. And it was thinking, thanks again for ordering from us. We appreciate it. It was just a nice message sent to him. And then he photoed that message on Instagram, and it's sent out. But it was a nice, heartfelt message. Thanks again for supporting us. we're getting through this. It was just a nice, quick little message.
So Jay, you are that's the emotional connection that you're talking
That is, but now I'm talking about it.
about. Exactly.
On Facebook Live.
And I have, and Daniel is going to take over and share some of the social things that we're doing. But one that stands in my mind, like one of our customers gave away an ugly Christmas sweater. We got like 12 of them from Amazon for $10, and he got thousands of people. I want one, and he just literally created a little, but it wasn't about selling pizza,
But that's the thing right
we have
now.
a lot of stories like that. Daniel, why don't you,
Dan,
take over and just kind of explain what social media, digital media, all about. Thanks.
Sure.
By the way, for all of you to know, Daniel was teaching computers when he was 13, so you get an idea of who this guy is.
He's still teaching you computers, Mark.
Exactly.
Without him, I would close the company.
I wish I never told anybody that I know anything about computers, because that will save me hours of tech support duty between family and at the office. But
awesome.
Jay, just to touch on what you were just mentioning, that tactic of generating surprise and delight with customers is a well-known and well-used approach to generate an emotional connection with customers. Taking that extra 2 seconds or the extra minute to do something that will really surprise your customers when they receive the order can pay massive dividends if you're counting the social leverage that you'll get out of it.
Yeah.
Right. We did a campaign with one of our clients a few years ago where we encouraged their staff, to draw something on the inside of the boxes, the delivery boxes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was fun. Like people, were drawing, food shapes and happy families and flying unicorns with laser beams shooting out of their eyes. Stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And they got picked up. They got picked up and reposted in social, and it created that, that social proof to their own customers that, they're more than just an anonymous restaurant. They're real people, and creates that kind of emotional connection. So that's definitely a tactic, that we've encouraged in the past with some of our customers. But just talking about, digital media and marketing in general for restaurants, right? Marketing is all about communication, building off what Sean mentioned, right? And we need to communicate to the existing customers of a restaurant, and we need to communicate to new potential customers of a restaurant, and we need to communicate often and frequently and with a tone and voice that is reflective of the brand in order to create, that interest and that attachment to the restaurant. Digital marketing is not a monolithic thing. It's not one thing. You don't go to a store and buy digital marketing in a box. Here's $500. Give me digital marketing. Digital marketing is made up of many different channels. There's social media, of course. There's email marketing. There's text message marketing. There's digital display ads. There's your website. There's messenger platforms. Literally, the list goes on forever. And there's a flavor of the week, every other day that, every other week that pops up that is going to be the next big thing. And then it suddenly doesn't. And maybe it does for a little while and that kind of thing like that. And the trick is for restaurants is to use a combination of these medias and channels to their best advantage. Every channel, every media does certain things extremely, extremely well, and maybe doesn't do as good of a job as a different channel in achieving that same goal. So it's very important to figure out, what the goals are of your marketing campaign, and then utilize the best channels to make the most, headway in that respect. So as we're big fans of, targeting existing clientele, there are certain marketing channels like email, like SMS, like direct messenger, even social media. Those channels are extremely effective at targeting existing customer bases. If we were under the objective of, if we have a new restaurant that's just opening, there's no database, they haven't had, much sales data, and they need to get the word out. Well, I would recommend a whole different set of channels to get the word out, because mass awareness uses a different set of tools. There may be some overlap, but you can't email to a new, a database of a new restaurant that just opened because there's no database yet, right? So, It's about using the right combination of media to achieve the goals that that you want to achieve. And what we've done for restaurants, and our primary clientele as MPP has historically been, restaurant chains and franchise groups, but we've always worked with single unit operators as well, or smaller chains, that type of thing. And what we've really done since COVID started was develop packages that combine multiple channels, like I mentioned, into easy to implement and execute programs for restaurants. And we can talk about those in a little bit, but really it's using the multi-channel approach, the different medias to their best advantage that generates the best return for restaurants. And again, just because I said there's like 100 different channels, it doesn't mean that you have to advertise in 100 different channels. You do what your marketing budget allows you to do. Whether that means 2 channels, 3 channels, 1 channel, everything is.
But let me break in here, Daniel, because the reality is that historically you used to do direct mail because 15 years ago that was my main business, direct mail, and Sean was one of my best customers, and he would be spending $30,000 a month on direct mail, and the most of the money that went into direct mail was postage because they just killed you. They're like 18 cents, 16 cents. So it was just ridiculous. And when digital media came in, obviously it brought down the price to be able to emotionally connect with a customer. So we're talking to people, we're saying to them, give us, by the way, many of, like, for example, Domino's, which I know a lot about, when you come to buy a Domino's franchise, they tell you your goal is to do $1 million a year today. And the fact is that the average Domino's store does over $1 million a year. And they say, but you have to do marketing when you open up, like you're already doing $1 million a year. So you need to take 6% of $1 million and spend $60,000 on marketing the first year. And if you don't have those 2 years of $60,000, you cannot become a Domino's franchisee. So they say to you, you need to market, and we will show you how to market, and we will do it for you. And they make, with them, they send you 20,000 menus, whether you like it or not. And when you go to the post office and puts it down, then you get some of that money back. Yeah. So they've got skin in the game. So the idea is that, Domino's has always done print. I mean, I live in Florida, and, sometimes I get once a week. I mean, rarely, but at least twice a month. Mm-hmm. I would get a postcard or something. And they've always continued to do that. And if you look at the results are astounding. Their share price is beyond imagination. It's over $350, so you see what works. And of course, they've invested millions and millions of dollars into technology. But my point is that today, with companies like us who have the knowledge of all the platforms, and we know how to mix it up, it gives the smaller unit owner, the single unit owner, and if it's a small franchise, the same playing level field. And that's my message to restaurants, that you can do it for $1,000 a month. You could have never done it 15 years ago for $1,000 a month. And you're telling me that's too much money?
No, but so it's interesting you say that, Mark, because I ran restaurants 20 years ago, and it was ridiculous the amount of cost things were then. And print media was it was so expensive. And then when you got into even thinking about TV, it was, forget it, because TV was I can't even believe how much it was per minute. I think is what they sold.
Because there were lesser channels. There were fewer channels.
Well, it wasn't that long ago, Mark. But,
no, I'm talking 25. I'm talking 25 years ago when I got into this business.
I know, but there wasn't. But we were looking at. I remember TV doing a cooking show at lunchtime, and they were selling us by the minute, and it was ridiculous. It was going to cost us a fortune, right? And I know restaurants out there don't have huge returns, like their margins are very slim, so it is tough in a sense. But I want to talk about something else here really quick, because you brought some good notions. But I do want to just point out, Dan, that writing in the box, I did that 20 some years, probably about 25 years ago, to a band because they ordered from our place.
Nice.
And we said, but we told them that we liked the other band that they didn't like. And I won't tell you that it might have been Nickelback, but I won't say that because I'm from Alberta and they're from Alberta, so I won't say anything bad. But we did have them join, and remember writing a note to them on the inside of their takeout container. But anyways, different story.
They shared the other band.
Exactly, the other band. I won't tell you who it was, but we were just having some fun with them. Great guys. But it is the thing that I do want to just bring up here because Mark, you brought a good point. Use company like yourselves. You're part of the Advantage program. Big part why we brought you on board and why we want to partner with you is really that what you said. Use these companies out there. But I want to just kind of touch on something prior to this, because I know this has happened many times with restaurants, and maybe Sean, you can get in here as well, is how do we reduce it's not, I don't want to use the word scared of them starting this journey within having a marketing strategy, but how do we get them over the hump to start doing these things and working with companies like yourselves? How do we make it less?
Listen, they're all entrepreneurs.
nervous.
They're all entrepreneurs. They're all entrepreneurs, and I believe that as an entrepreneur, you have that inside spirit that you always look forward, and you just need someone to emotionally connect with you and show you kind of the way. It's kind of like a financial analyst. Why do we go to a financial analyst? Because he looks at your age, he looks at your income, he creates basically a package for you, and that's what we do. You come to us, you say to us, I'm an independent, or I have a small franchise, or I'm this, or I'm that. And then based on that, we'll create a custom-made strategy. And then we will make sure that strategy is being continually analyzed to see what works, what doesn't work. Oh, email worked, but text didn't work so much. Great. Let's take some of the text money, put it more into email because we got a better return. I'm just simplifying it, but today you have all that information at your fingertips. And that's when I say that, technology has really leveled the playing field, and small, individual should not be afraid to invest that $1,000, $1,500. We have a customer in Virginia who we started out, Daniel, you can speak more about it, started out with $1,000 ad buy. He's now at $6,000 ad buy every month. Daniel, do you want to talk about them a little bit, because that's a real, and this guy's up 30%.
Sure. And the reason we're able to give customers the confidence to invest in marketing is because in most cases we can show with good confidence, the return on that investment.
Yeah.
With the technology tools that we have right now, we're able to create a strong attribution chain. And what that means is that we can figure out what is the cause or the primary driver of a sale through digital means, right? So basically the way that works is we link together all the various channels that we're using, like email, social, and text messaging and all that kind of stuff. Even in a broader context, like display ads and things like that. And we're able to follow the customer as they make their journey. So they may have seen, the first message on social media. And then as they browse the web later on, they see another message from that same brand or the same restaurant. And then, they got an email blast from that customer, from that restaurant. And then only then did they actually click, to go in to place an order online or something like that. Mm-hmm. Well, we have the technology to be able to follow that journey, give credit to each of the channels proportionally, right? And then ultimately what the value is of that purchase that was ultimately made. So we can say that, at the end of the month, let's say $1,000 was spent holistically as the whole package, we were able to generate, let's say, $10,000 worth of revenue, right? Which is a 10 times ROI or something like that. And then we can actually break it down then by channel and say, okay, well, this channel was responsible for 35% of it, this channel was responsible for 55% of it, and this channel was responsible for 20% of it. And that allows us to do this reallocation of the marketing budget with confidence going forward, because we have the data that represents, where we got the most bang for our buck, really. I mean, and that's a more sophisticated level of campaign, and usually comes with a little bit larger ad budget. But the fundamentals are all the same for the programs that we're offering through the Cisco Advantage program. Those are the main building blocks of what we do, just at a smaller scale for single unit operators at a really affordable price point, and very configurable to meet their individual budgetary requirements.
Hey, Jay, I wanted to chime something in real quick, and I was just thinking, listening through all this awesome conversation. It's and thank you again for having us on here, because we really want to help restaurants survive. And if ever there was a time where Darwinism is going to come into play here, evolve or die, and that's where the restaurant business is right now. And to evolve right now, you have to understand what business you're in. You are not in a food business. You are in a marketing business that sells food, and that evolution of thought is what takes the big chains to success. It takes the winners from the losers. And if you keep thinking that you're just in this to sell food or make a great plate, or they'll come if I make good food, they'll come, right? This isn't Field of Dreams anymore. This is an evolution of the entire industry. And those are the dinosaurs will die off who don't evolve into that way of thinking. So it's not necessarily scaring somebody into this or convincing them. They're going to make their own decision. And if they don't make that decision, the chances of their success and longevity is significantly diminished.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. So and I love how you put that, Sean, is that you're marketing, you're in marketing, you position yourself as marketing that sells food.
Hey, can we jump to the more of the community and maybe Sean talk a little about something about that, what we want to create, and we would love some feedback from the restaurant owners who hopefully many of them are enjoying this really awesome conversation. I really feel that we've touched on a lot of things, but one of the things that we're trying to do now is trying to create an idea of a community. So I know my wife is very held up on the fact that we support the restaurant industry within our community. So, when she doesn't cook 3 or 4 times a week, when we just had enough of home cooked meals, as she says, we go out and we make sure that we support the local restaurants that are within 1 mile and 2 miles. And we literally go one by one to the favorite restaurants. So what we thought we would do is create some sort of a meeting place for all these restaurants to conjure together in a community basis, and maybe have this program come out as a Cisco program where, whether you're a Cisco representative or a customer, or whether you're not, it doesn't matter. What Cisco is doing now is coming out with a program where you can now, for very low cost, tell your neighborhood, tell your community within 10,000 households, for very little money, you can basically create a holistic program, includes print. And the fact that we're sending out this menu booklet that we want to do with every page, maybe you can click to the end of that, to the end of the presentation here that you've got up here. And so these are some of the customers that we're doing, and you'll come up to the end of it, and we just talk about that a little bit, because we really discussed a lot of these things. So you can actually have this posted so people can basically read what it is that we're doing. It's pretty self-explanatory, but keep going. Right there. So what we're trying to do is kind of, tell the local community that you're open, and then hopefully we can actually show the menu. Daniel, can you show it on that? Can you show a menu, one of the menu that we're talking about, the way it looks? Can you show that the last ad that we have? It's in another email. Anyway,
I can try. I have to look for it.
Okay, so if you can find it, that's great. But we'll share it with you. So it's a beautifully designed menu booklet that every restaurant gets a full page, and they're able to tell their story, what they want to sell, when are they open, and what they, what some sort of special. But what we really wanted to do with that 10,000 physical booklet, which, by the way, because you'll have 20 of your favorite restaurants in there, hopefully you'll keep it as a guide, and it's not one of those menus that just gets thrown away. And that's a huge benefit to having this menu. So you create a community menu guide and you mail it to 10,000, but then you create a complete digital connection. And so every restaurant that goes on this thing can now list on our menu on our site, and then basically we can, through the actual menu, we can actually put any messages that we want to bring the consumers into this site, into our local menu site, right?
And I think you're going to have to. The nice thing about that, Mark, there's a few things I really like about this, and I think is very good.
Well, the best thing is that we give you, if you do that for $500, we would give you $950 worth of digital stuff for free for the first month, so you can create a holistic program.
And then I think the thing is when you're doing that with 20 other restaurants or whatever that number is, your cost shrinks so much. And we know everyone's a little tight and going through this situation, that we're not out there to spend big budgets. So you make it really reasonable for them to be able to do this.
Never mind. They should say thank you to Cisco, because Cisco is paying the $950.
Right? So, but it is a thing. And my phone will ring off the hook. But
that's what we want.
That's where I think the thing I think was really nice about that too, Mark, is that, and this goes back to what you're saying earlier on the community thing, is our restaurants I see right now is restaurants are out helping restaurants. And prior to COVID, I don't know if a lot of people would be like, yeah, I want to sit there with my competitor. And I don't think that's happening right now. And I don't see that happening where another restaurant's helping another restaurant out. And I think there's, back to that emotional thing that Sean was talking about, there's emotional ties there, I think, that comes into that factor as well. And I think you could probably make these booklets even a little bit, had a little emotion there within the supporting the community, or come out and support us. We're in this fight together. All these different things that you can touch on some emotional ties.
Well, you can give away, you can give away free food to the people in the hospital, to the all those wonderful people that are helping.
And I've seen that in some places that, they have the sign, if you're a paramedic or a nurse,
sure,
you get free coffee, or you get a free meal, or whatever. It's amazing what our restaurants are still doing. A lot of them are really having, a real good fight here, but they're still willing to do stuff like that for.
Hey Jay,
frontline workers.
Do you remember when we talked about the other day about one of your customers? I won't mention name, that really created. It's a burger chain, and they basically created a ghost kitchen out of that, where they're now selling chicken and they're selling fish and chips. You go into the restaurants now, there are 9 tablets, 3 for each. So now they've expanded their business, and now they're going to add all kinds of snacks and drinks and whatever, and they're going virtual with it. They're taking advantage of the fact that you can really get creative out of one kitchen. You can put out 3 menus.
Yeah, you really can. And this is the time, if you try,
especially with Cisco, right?
Exactly, right. And that's the thing, is that we're here to help support our customers, our industry, to come up with ideas, partner with companies like yourselves. We're here to help, right? Bug us, use us. That's always, I say this every time when we work with customers in the past, is use us. We're here for you. And we might not know all the answers, but we'll find them. We'll look for them if we don't know them, and we'll dig them out. But this stuff is awesome. I get so excited about it, because back to that hope. This isn't hope. This is actual. And this does move you forward, and it will make a big difference in your business. It really will. Really, really will. Well, I do want to kind of wrap up, because we're getting into the soon to be 40 minutes live here on our Facebook channel. And I know a lot of people won't have a lot of time to watch it. So hopefully they come back and watch this more and more. But can we just kind of go through? So what can they do to get a hold of you? What is that?
So basically go to, so maybe you want to go to the beginning of that slide. We can kind of quickly go through it. But basically go to mppmarketinggroup.com. And then, or they can find our phone number and call our 800 number, or send us an email at info@mppmarketinggroup, and somebody will get back to them right away. Daniel, is there a better way to get a hold of us?
Well, the direct link you can see is scrolling down along the bottom of the stream here, mppmarketinggroup.com/Cisco, to go right to our Cisco programs page. That's the easiest way to get started. It's got all the information about all the different programs, email, SMS, social media. We have a special promotion right now where, if your website needs a facelift, we're doing 20 free websites for Cisco customers. So if you need to get your website looked at and need it to be revamped, get in there ASAP and hit that button next to the website revamp portion, and we'll help you right out. All our contact information, email, telephone numbers is right there. You can even press a button to book a consultation with Sean right from that page. So mppmarketinggroup.com/Cisco is really your entry point for all of our services that we can provide to you as a Cisco Advantage partner.
Thank you, Shauna. So Jay, I just want to really thank you for the opportunity to work with Cisco and really look forward to much growth together. But we thank you for the opportunity and looking forward to your input. Looking forward to your thoughts and ideas that you can share with us. We'd love to talk to anybody in the restaurant business.
Let's bug them. So when you watch this video or you're on live today, bug these guys, right? We want to see them busy. We want them to call me and say, Jay, this is too much. We need everyone out there. And I guess the other thing I just want to point out is you guys are like, this is the industry you guys market to. You're not marketing clothing. You're marketing this industry, so you're the pros at it, right?
Go check out mppmarketinggroup.com. You'll see.
Yeah, I love you see it right on the first page, right?
Food is what we do. We've been doing it since 2001, 20 years. We have in-house photo studio. We do custom photography. We do, very robust custom marketing campaigns for customers, large and small. And we've seen everything that works and everything that doesn't work. And
exactly.
You don't have to make the same mistakes that other people have made. You just got to call the right people, work with the right team, and we can help you avoid some of those pitfalls that other people have made.
Do what you do best and outsource the rest.
Jay, I would tell you that once a customer comes to MPP, they never leave. They literally stay with us for, I would say 90% of our customers are over 10 years with us.
That's awesome. I wouldn't leave you either. I don't want to leave you either, but I do know we have to wrap it up. I do know we have to shut this down, but thanks again, guys. And I'm just very happy and very, very overwhelmed of what you guys are going to do for our customers. I'm just blown away. And thanks so much for being just amazing company to work with. And we look forward to our customers bugging you and getting in there and using you guys more and more. And we'll talk to you soon. We'll bring you back again. And I love these talks. And I learn something every time. And everyone else have a great rest of your day. And you, gentlemen, have a great rest of your day as well.
Thank you.